Well, we are in some kind of luck. I have one piece of eave trim left over. It's 14 feet long, so it's not quite enough to do both sides, but it's enough to at least do this east side. And this is the side I really wanted to get protected. Not that it really matters, but the east side of the shed is where the tank and everything is going to go. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to push ahead and get this east wall insulated and closed in, because I'd like to go ahead and get the tank moved as soon as possible. Again, the whole rest of the shed, if it's not insulated, what's it matter? But for whatever reason, I'm telling myself, let's hurry up and get this side done. So I've got this one piece of eave trim that I've cut. I can't hold it up there and see end to end if it looks good or not, so I gotta have my wife come eyeball it for me, but I think it's okay. Got a piece of eave trim, found some screws, got enough pieces to actually do the metal deck on this side, so that would at least get that out of the weather. And then I can get, the siding out here, insulation in, and the interior wall. Really, I'm hustling to get this wall done just so I can get the inside of it closed up, and then be able to get the pressure tank moved. Again, not so much out of freeze concern, really just because I want to hurry up and get the pressure tank moved. So yeah, trying to get a little bit of metal roof done, but we shall see if I get anything actually tacked onto there or not. Neglected y'all a little bit, but I've been working on the barn here. Obviously, been working on the goat barn. Working on the well house. I mean, my kids have been correcting me nonstop. It's good to know they listen sometimes. But I kind of, well, whatever. It's like everything else. I get busy working on it. I don't think to go grab this camera and tripod and all that, but. Anyway, been working on the roof and putting on the metal decking. It's been kind of piece by piece. I got the first piece of soffit up on that side the other day, and I did that just because I wanted to get some metal on the roof, just get something done. Here, I'll let you guys at least look at it. Get something done. And then I had to check and see if I actually had enough metal, and it turns out I actually have enough panels left over from the goat barn. Maybe that's why I keep getting confused, because it's the leftover metal from the goat barn that I'm using. So this is perfect. I didn't have to buy any extra panels for this. I have had to buy, I had to go buy the rake and a piece of eave trim and the ridge trim, but I actually had one piece, this piece of eave over here actually. You'll notice if you look at it, it's a little bit different. Maybe, if you can see it. I'm trying to let the camera see. So this piece of eave actually has a little lip that sticks out as a drip edge. That was left over from the house, actually, from over a year ago. Well, no, I guess not over a year. Yeah, wow, we've already lived here a year. Year and a half ago, I've had that piece hanging around. This piece of eave is what I got with the goat barn, and you can see it does not have that lip. It has just a 90-degree bend that goes back, and so you make that effective lip with you let your sheet metal stick over a little bit. So on the other side over here, I didn't have to stick my sheet metal over because the eave has that lip, but on this side I have to make the lip by letting the metal stick over. So that's something interesting to learn. The other struggle was on the spacing of the panels themselves. These panels have a 37-inch reveal, and for whatever reason, I just can't wrap my head around the spacing on the ribs. When I tried to draw it out, I tried to think it out, and it just wasn't working. But with that 37-inch reveal, what that does is the ridges are on a 12-inch on center. And on each side of the panel, you have a ridge. You have your little bit of a lap ridge. I was trying to see if I had a piece for an example. You have your flat lip. So this, like this right here, that's one side of the panel with that flat lip. And then on the other side of the panel, you actually have your, what would be the overlap, which is like this here. You see it doesn't have that flat lip. It just has a partial angle. And so trying to work through that and trying to wrap my head around it, I don't know why I struggled. And so I actually cut several pieces wrong. Thankfully I had a little bit of extra. If I'd have messed up one more cut, I'd have been out. Done. But I got it right, and ultimately it worked out perfect because it's the roof is 8 foot wide, and so with those ribs being 12-inch on center, you just end up with a rib right at either edge. So if you look on both ends, come in a little closer maybe. If you look on both ends, you'll see there's a rib right at the edge, and that's good because that's a good drip protection. And so I had to figure that out. I messed it up a couple times, like I said, but I finally got it figured out. I got it all centered out, and now I'm working on putting up the rake. So I just got that first piece cut. When I worked on the goat barn, this vertical seam up here gave me fits. No, I meant goat barn that time. I meant goat barn, thank you very much. That vertical seam gave me fits on the goat barn because my angles were messed up. But on this well house, because I've been keeping it square and keeping it straight, the angles are perfect. But I'm checking them again anyway to make sure that they stay perfect. So it's 14 degrees. I got up there with a protractor and checked to make sure it was level, drew the line, made the cut. So it's going together a lot better. Super happy with it. But anyway, it's cold, it's overcast today. This kind of sucks to walk around with the camera in my hands. So I don't think I'm gonna film anymore, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this piece screwed in tight. I'm gonna get this other piece of rake up, and then I've got to get the other two on the other side, which is a little bit harder because the ground over there has a, you can see we've got a steep drop off, so I can't work off the step ladder as easy. I have to work off the extension ladder, which is fine. But I got a good method in place. I'm getting her done. I'm excited. I'd like to get the rest of this roof on today. I've just got to do 3 more pieces of rake and the ridge, and I'm done with the roof. Be good to get all this picked up out of the yard. And then I've got a watertight roof, so I can actually start working inside if I want to, and start, well, I got to put siding on the outside. But at least I'll have a watertight roof, which will make me feel a lot better about moving forward on this project. So let's get it done. Wow. Look at that. Now, if that ain't pro, I don't know what is. That's nice. Might have to take you guys down to the goat barn just to show you how horrible the goat barn stuff looked. I asked at the dealer if they had a little cap. I could swear I've seen before a little cap about 1 inch wide that fits over this seam, like it's a pre-bent, pre-made piece to fit over this seam. I asked if they had that. He said no. He acted like he didn't know what I was talking about. Oh, ignore that. Let's show you from the front on so you can't see that. But yeah, I could have swore I've seen a little cap, just a little rain guard here that would protect that, because in theory your ridge is going to stick over just a little bit, but blowing rain could get right in that little gap. I mean, I'll seal it up with some clear silicone, but it just seems logical to me that there should be that cap, and I'm certain I've seen it, but I don't know. Maybe it's through a different dealer or a different manufacturer that on the roof that I saw that. But the rake's going on. It's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. I did miss a screw there, got a little high with it, so it just has to stay to keep a seal. But yeah, got the front or south part of the rake on. Got to do the back north side now. All right, so I know tin snips, right? But the tin snips that I own are garbage, total garbage. So I found, for the sake of cutting this stuff, the grinder with a cutting wheel, working pretty doggone good. Alrighty, she's all done. Got the lap screws and everything in. So there's my front gable. And I keep saying front because that's what we see when we come out of the house. And this is the back. This is the side we won't go to all that often. The back gable didn't turn out quite as much as I had hoped, quite as good as I had hoped. See a little gap up there. That was my fault on the grinder. I actually thought I was I ground a little bit off of it, thinking I was taking off what was going to be a high spot, and it turned out I should have left it on there because it would have been perfect. It's hard to get a good appreciation for the ridge from down on the ground. So let me take you up here on the deck on our nice new concrete, which I walked all in and left footprints before it was cured. Oh yeah, ain't that pretty? Look at that. And I love metal roofing. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm really happy that I used up leftovers from the goat barn. There's one issue here, and this is a good learning point. See that seam that's standing up? So that seam is actually backwards. When you look at a piece of this R panel, I was showing you earlier how one side has that little flat edge on it and the other side does not. When you're putting it on, the side with the flat edge is actually what's supposed to get overlapped. So it's supposed to be on the bottom. But because I had messed a piece up when I was cutting, I ended up having to put that one on backwards in order to make it fit right. I don't know if I marred up the top end of it or why it was that I had to put it on backwards. But yeah, I had to put it on backwards. So the fat lip is what overlaps when it shouldn't. And I think it's actually a lip overlapping another lip. But it, for whatever reason, it didn't want to screw down tight. And so I actually ended up going through and putting, you can see that little row of screws right along the edge of it, and those are really what's pinning it down. The top screws that actually go into the lap joint, they just wouldn't pull it tight. The first one stripped out. I don't know why they wouldn't pull it tight, but I put those other ones in down low, and hopefully that'll be enough to button it up. There is an overlap there anyway, so the fact that it's standing up a little bit doesn't really matter, other than just that it bothers me to see it. Because yeah, water won't get up underneath there and then run in because there's still a ridge behind it. Anywho, nice little metal roof. I'm sure pretty happy with it. I guess eventually at some point maybe I'll get some gutters put on, but that's not in the cards for right now. What I really wanted to do was just get that roof on, get this thing with a dry cap on it, and now I've got to go back to finishing up all of my 1/2-inch racking support, get all that on, and I got to start getting some siding on. And once I can get siding on this east wall, I'm going to get it insulated and get it closed up and then get my pressure tank moved in there just as fast as I can. So just wanted to get that roof on before I tried to even think about doing anything with insulation. But metal roof's done. I'm sure tickled with it.